Holy crap. Dan Jungleman Cates just folded 2 jacks pre-flop with 6 remaining in a Triton 150K.
That's what you're reacting to?
That is actually the least important decision in this entire hand.
Thank you. Really got me concerned there. We have aces, we have kings, we have ace king. I see car crash.
I mean, okay, so you can watch the hand play out as it does, but this is an amazing thing that happens here. Jungleman folding the jacks, which you see here, is not that big of a deal. This is a normal standard fold, right? When there's been already a 4-bet in front of him and under the gun open with 20 blinds.
I think it's pretty standard. I think the stakes may make it even a little bit more standard, where Jungleman think there's a little bit less people getting way out of line. Just for everyone to understand, they've all locked up about $1 million. This is a 125K buy-in, I believe.
150. I already said it. Good job, though.
Well, who listens to you? First place, though, is $4.2 million. There's still $3 million, a little more, to win. Jungleman doesn't think people are getting that nuts, though.
Yeah, and in most poker tournament scenarios, Jax is not doing well against the combined ranges of your opponents here.
Exactly. I mean, we're up against 3 uncapped ranges here, including the under the gun, like you mentioned, opening with 19 blinds. That's Pardo with kings. SpaghettiOs. This may not work out well for him.
And as you see, it's an easy, quick fold.
Yeah.
So let's get to the good stuff.
Here we go.
JNT 3-betting the aces, normal. Chidwick trying to, just isolate out of position with ace king suited, fine. The interesting thing is what happens in between Chidwick's decision and Pardo's decision, which is Thorell, JNT, acting out of turn. He goes all in verbally.
Almost immediately he goes all in, by the way.
Yeah. So, a couple questions, because Pardo is in a tough spot here. How does this affect what Pardo should do? And does it affect it a lot? Like, would you change your decision a lot based on the act out of turn?
Wow. Okay. So how does it affect what he should do? Well, he should be ranging JNT differently than he was previous to that all-in verbal declaration, right?
Yes, that is stronger than just 3-betting, for sure.
Like Chidwick and JNT are the 2 chip leaders of this 150K buy-in with 6 players left. There's so much money to win. Chidwick just 4-bet him cold, and still JNT is moving in essentially immediately. So I think we can eliminate some hands from JNT's range that could be very strong but are worse than kings, i.e., would JNT ever move in this quickly with 2 jacks or 2 queens? I doubt it.
It's questionable, and the bluff side of things gets a little bit like, tough to find, right? It's like It's like the fading parents and fading Marty in Back to the Future, right? Is his name Marty?
Marty McFly.
Yeah, Marty McFly.
Tough to find.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, when he's playing the guitar and he starts disappearing.
Yeah. I mean, he's right there. You can see him.
Yeah, but if he kept disappearing, though, if things didn't change, in the future, the whole time loop thing, it messes with me. I can't quite get it right. But if they didn't fix it somehow in whatever fangled science way they fixed it, then he would
kiss. His parents kiss. All right, sorry, but
then he would keep disappearing, and that would be like ace 5 suited in JNT's range.
Got it.
Yeah,
it's gone.
It would be poof.
Gone.
Yeah, the guitar would hit the ground. There'd be no more ace 5 suited. I feel like
this metaphor was quite a biplane, and we went through a lot of stormy weather, but you landed that thing.
It was so worth it, wasn't it? All of this to say, in the high rollers, you would expect that even in scenarios that are extremely leveraged like this, the best players are going to have some balance. Mm-hmm. I don't think JNT is among the best players. That's not an insult. He's just not Steven Chidwick, right? I'm not sure he has ace 5 suited left in his range. I'm not sure he's doing stuff like this anymore.
No way.
I'm not sure he should, by the way.
Yeah.
Probably he shouldn't. So if we remove bluffs, we're questioning queens and jacks. By the way, Steven Chidwick is sitting in the small blind, entirely uncapped, having 4-bet the under the gun opener and +1 3-better.
Mm-hmm.
How are we doing with kings against these ranges?
I mean, without the verbal all-in, we're probably doing good enough. I think we are, in fact, doing good enough, right? With this verbal all-in, I mean, Chidwick's folding sometimes.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, this is an all-in from Thorell.
Yeah.
For sure, he's got a bunch of folds in him. So sometimes we're going to be heads up, and that's good. I would think pretty much all the time, if we think Thorell is never just going to insta-shove queens here, which I think is at least a reasonable guess, then he's either got like ace-king aces or the other two kings.
Yep.
Right? Two of those three hands we are not feeling great about. I mean, kings we get to chop, and so we get some of Chidwick's money. That's good.
Unless Chidwick has aces.
Oh, yeah, that's true. But even ace-king has got 30% against us, and there's no folding it out.
Yep.
So, like, we're busted even when we have him in bad shape. I think we have to live with that for sure. But that should be part of the thing. We're like, oh, we're chopping, crushed, or busted 30% of the time. That's like kind of the scenario it feels like now. Unless JNT has lost his mind and is quickly moving in with queens and jacks and ace-queen and ace-5 suited. I don't think that's true, though.
The worst part about what you just said is that you were only thinking about the JNT part of things.
That's right.
Stephen Chidwick is still sitting there uncapped. He absolutely has aces in his range.
For sure.
100%. Has aces make up more of his range than they usually do in this scenario, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Chidwick currently has a much wider range than JNT before Pardo makes his decision, right? Chidwick can still have some bluffs here, right? He can have ace-5 suited.
He can also have weaker value hands. He
like
can have
jacks.
queens and jacks and even tens and maybe ace-queen suited and stuff like that.
Right.
All those, of course, are folding.
Right. So if we just went up against Chidwick's current range, we'd be happy to go with kings. But
Yeah.
Chidwick's current range, which does include some problematic hands for us, which are just aces, but also hands that can beat us, plus JNT's range means I can't condone folding kings all the time in this spot, but like I could see just folding and being fine with it.
The only thing that gives me pause, if we were 100 blinds deep and this situation played out, I think we should probably just fold the kings pretty comfortably, right? We started the hand with 19 blinds. Being wrong is a fucking disaster, man. Like this could be the spot we've been waiting for all day long, all tournament long. This is it. We're gonna have all these chips. We're gonna get the double through JNT. Chidwick already put in half of our stack and is probably gonna fold a lot.
More than half.
If we move in also, right? Although actually we were talking about this before on our podcast that actually we probably don't actually move in. We just call, right? To let JNT himself still move in.
Yeah.
We want to keep that action because if he's got aces, he's moving in anyway. So we force that action by just calling. We don't actually move in. But we're effectively moving in by putting in, more than half our stack.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I get what you're saying, but I can't fault the fold. And obviously it was right this time.
It's incredible. It's beautiful that it was right. It's one of those things where you do all this studying in poker. At least a lot of people do. Grant, maybe not you, but a lot of us.
Why would you study?
Put a lot of studying in poker, trying to prep for all these spots and all the ICM spots. And then you come across something like this, which you just can't study for. There's no preparing for this, where the guy moves in out of turn, where there's 6 left, and there's $3.2 million still to be won, and you've got now 17 blinds in front of you.
You just have to rely on good old thinking.
It's an extraordinary fold that Pardo makes here.
It is.
And it's probably just right because the situation is so unique. But how devastating would it be if Thorell had jacks and
Chidwick had ace-king.
Had ace-king or the other two queens or something, and they just overplayed their hands a little bit. And we were being a little too cautious. Like, he would have gotten raked over the coals. But instead, he looks like a psychic master.
Right. By the way, Chidwick calls it off with the ace-king.
Yes.
Which, I mean, is questionable, but it's different because you're not facing three-way action at the very least.
Yeah, there's only one person. Now, Thorell looks very, very, very strong here, and Chidwick could at least consider folding, but he doesn't. You can see he calls really quickly. He clearly had already decided. You could reasonably argue, too, we're 40 blinds deep, I have ace-king suited, and now we're heads up with some dead money in there. Of course I call, right?
Right,
and
an ace-king,
fine.
of course, blocks aces, which is nice, I guess.
Didn't block these aces.
Not these ones.